All right, good afternoon, class. This is week 3 of the senior math project. Today I'll be going over question 3, exercises 1 through 3. The question for this week asks us, which SDIP steps yield the largest profit for the insurance company? Quickly, let's review what SDI steps means, and then we're going to talk a little bit about profit. So for SDI steps, we're talking about how safe or dangerous a driver is. Remember from the previous 2 weeks, we looked at tables and graphs where the SDI step ranged from 9 all the way up to 35. And we're continuing with that today, or I should say this week. But now we're going to be looking at profit. So the question asks us, which of the steps yield the largest profit for the insurance company? So it asks you to think about which type of driver is going to make the insurance company the most money, which is going to yield the largest profit. So is it going to be a driver who is very safe with a low SDIP level, or is it going to be a dangerous driver with a high SDIP level, or could it potentially be someone in the middle, someone was just recently assigned an SDIP level, or SDIP step, I should say. So for this week, it's broken up into 3 exercises. The first exercise is you have to fill in this table. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that. The second exercise is going to be a graph on Desmos, and the third is a series of short answer questions that you have to do. Okay, this week is actually not too bad in comparison to the previous 2. I think the more that you're building on this understanding, the easier it will be. So if we're looking at this graph, or this table, I should say here, I'm going to switch over to Excel because that's what it's going to look like for your project. Okay, when you go into classwork and you go into week 3, the first exercise, it has a Google Sheet with a PDF of the exercise. So when you open the Google Sheet, it'll show you this. And there's 4 columns that you are going to have to fill in. You're going to have to fill in the column for net profit, average loss per policy, and average loss per claim. Okay. I'm going to be working with Excel, which is the same thing as Sheets, and then sort of talk you through some of the strategies that make this actually very easy. Okay. So if we want to think about what is profit, well, profit tells us the financial gain of a business, or the difference between the amount earned and the amount spent in buying, operating, and producing something. Anytime you have a business, you want to think about how much money you're bringing in and how much money you are losing, right? No matter what business we're talking about. Here, we're talking about a car insurance company. And so it tells us how much total revenue is coming in, meaning the total amount of money that the company makes. And then that's the blue column here. And then we have the red column, which has the total amount of losses. So if you think about in the context of a car insurance company, the revenue is going to come from what? Well, that comes from how much the policyholders are paying per month, right? Their premiums. Okay. The losses comes from anytime someone gets in an accident or gets a speeding ticket, or does something where the car insurance company has to come and pay for it. So, a bad car accident, if it wasn't your fault, the insurance company is responsible for paying for the damages, right? So that's where your losses come from. The profit is going to be how much that company has made, depending on your revenue and loss. So if it's the difference, right, the difference between the amount earned and the amount spent, then that means we're going to be using subtraction here, okay? The net profit is simply going to be equal to the total revenue minus the total losses. So here I want to show you, instead of just doing this with the calculator and then plugging in the numbers, it's like a really tedious task. Excel and Google Sheets actually does that for you. So what you can do is hit the equal sign in the box where you're trying to find the net profit. And then I'm going to click this box for which is E2, represents the total revenue for an SDIP level of 9, and subtract that, and then subtract my total loss. So I hit equals, then I clicked on E2, I did minus, and then I clicked on D2. I'm going to hit enter. So when you hit enter, as long as you typed it in correctly, it should spit out a number, and it spits out, in this case, the profit. The net profit for someone with an SDIP level of 9. Now, pretty cool, right? Now, rather than repeating that process for each of the revenues and losses for all the SDIP levels, all you have to do, since we typed in this this function, this formula E2 minus D2, all you have to do now is hit the bottom right hand corner and drag it down for all of the SDIP levels. Once you do that, it'll automatically fill in the profits for each SDIP level. Okay, so I'm gonna do that one more time. I'll start from the beginning. Okay, so I went equals revenue minus loss. I hit enter, and then I use the bottom right hand corner of the box to drag it all the way down. Done. Okay, pretty easy to do. Does not take too much effort on your part. Okay, so I'm just going to delete some of these now real quick. All right, and so you can use these, the function tool and the drag option for all of these 4 columns, okay? And what I did, I inserted a comment into each column so you know how to calculate it. The average profit is asking for like how much on average the profit was for that certain SDIP level. So it says average profit here is calculated by the total profit divided by the number of policies. Okay, so you can do that the same way, the same idea as I did for net profit. Basically, we'll just be doing equals net profit, and then the slash sign can be used for division divided by the number of policies. Good, and it spits out your average profit. I could write that down, and it would automatically do it. Yeah, it would automatically do it for all of your SDIP levels. Okay, so I think you guys get the idea here. That's how you're going to be filling in these 4 columns. And this is the information that you need for exercise 2, which is what we're going to take a look at now. Okay, so exercise 2, using Desmos and the information from exercise 1, graph each of the 4 filled in columns versus SDIP step. Okay, so why are we going to have to graph all these? Well, we have it in tabular form on the right, and once we look at the graph, we'll be able to make some interpretations about the graph and decide how we can answer the original question. Remember, if we look at the first thing that I talked about. It asks which SDI steps yield the largest profit. Circle back to provide a complete answer to the question. Okay, so the graph will, you'll be able to answer questions like which SDIP steps are most profitable, and then try to make conclusions as to why this might be the case. So I'll do a quick Desmos preview here for exercise 2. So remember, desmos.com. Start graphing. Same as exercise 1 and 2. We go to the 3 bars at the top left. Go to statistics, linear regression. And then now we have our table of values and the information that can be drawn from the table. So here we now have to graph SDIP level versus, let's make 4 graphs. Okay, you're going to screenshot all 4. So the first one would be SDIP level versus net profit. So your independent variable is still SDIP level. Nine, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, all the way up to 35. And now your dependent variable is the net profit. Okay. After comparing these graphs, you'll be able to see which SDIP level had the highest net profit. Was it much different among the different SDIP levels? Was there a big spike, a big minimum? And you'll be able to draw conclusions from that. The thing with this Desmos is that you're gonna have to be careful with your scales because these are really big numbers, right? With SDIP level of 9, the profit is over 63 million. So 63,148,598.02. Don't use any commas when you're typing in these numbers. It won't work. And then it goes down to 19 million. 0.40. So to adjust the scale for your graph when you're doing this, you're going to have to make sure that your Y values goes all the way up to 63 million. For X, I'll go 0 to 35. That's my SDIP level. And then from Y, I'll go I'm going to go 0 to 65 million. And that is my net profit. Okay. I chose 65 million because it's an even number. It's higher than my max value, so it'll show up on the graph. And then you'll have to screenshot it when you're done plotting all of those. All right, so you do that same process. You make 4 graphs, one where you're plotting SDIP level against net profit, and then you do the same for average profit, average loss per policy, and average loss per claim. Exercise 3. Now you are looking at the short answer responses. So you've done the table, you've done your graphs, now you're trying to take some information away and make sense of what this graph and the table are telling us about in relation to the original question. Okay, so I made a Google Doc for you where you can answer these questions. You're going to click on the Google Doc, and then it has your questions in there where in space provided for you to put the answer. Net profit versus SDIP level. Okay, you have to answer. What does net profit tell us? Okay, and you can refer back to our discussion earlier about profit. What is profit for any company? Okay. So what does the net profit tell us in this case? And then you want to look at which step was the most profitable, and also why do you think this is the case? Okay. So why do you think someone with a low SDIP step would be more profitable, or why do you think someone with a high SDIP step would be profitable for the insurance company? Put your answers here, and when you're done, exercise 3, you are done for the week. Reminder: tomorrow tomorrow, Tuesday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, is our Blackboard Collaborate session. I will be live at 11 a.m. I'm sorry, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. On Blackboard Collaborate. You're welcome to join us. We'll be going through the question for this week and engaging in some math discourse. So I hope you guys are able to attend. If not, this video will should suffice as being able to answer any clarifying questions. As always, reach out to me via Instagram or text message or call if you have questions or concerns. And good luck, guys. Have a good week.